All right. Good Friday afternoon, evening, good peoples. Gonna jump in here with Roundhill weekly pay single stocks. Exciting close. I think Coney and Coin and Pulte and Palantir, the underlying. I think they both hung in there. So I'll have my updates on the weekends and mainly on Pulte because that will be included in the Group B. All right, so let's get into these Roundhill single stocks. So remember, they all launched on February 19th. So Nvidia, the NVW, right? Underlying Nvidia, that paid 35 cents. Um, you had to buy it on Friday. X date is Monday and pay date is Tuesday. So they did kind of an interesting twist on this. It's not like all the others. So I think that would be confusing to just throw it all in where their index single stocks, or sorry, their index weekly payers are, right? So we call these weekly pay single stocks. Right, just like the yield max has gone to RDTY, SDTY, sort of copying the weeklies of Roundhill, but they have all their monthlies. All right, so 42.48 up 5.86. The chips, hardware, a lot of the stocks are up in the semis. All right, let's move to, so that gives us a total, and I always show you my summary sheet, so don't worry about that. I should probably start a charting out here so you can see, but I like to show you some of the ranges, right? So 44, look at these back in, we had 60% yields. Why? Because the stock is down in price. It's easier, although this was when the market was brutal. So these were two lows with low yields as well. Um, there's a 71 percenter. All right, let's move to Tesla. Tesla had the biggest yield percentage uh, over everybody else. So good on you, Tesla. It moved a lot, right? So we're looking at a 50 cent, also the largest distribution amount on the weekly. It was up 7.55 from 33 to 41. That was also the biggest mover. This was 36 to 42. All right, guys. So the yield is 63. Now, interesting, even when this was lower, this 43 yield or 43 payment yielded more. So look at this. They had a 53 here when the stock was 33. So that volatility, that movement in the recovery has been good. But Tesla's been on a tear after just getting the crap kicked out of it for quite a while. So good to see them rising. Um, let's take a look at Apple. Apple paid a paltry 16 cents. Well, there's one in the neighborhood. I don't see much else. Well, there's another one. So it's not unprecedented, but it is ugly. Excuse me, peoples. All right. So moving right along, coin and koi, right? Weekly payer similar to Coney, right? Although Coney is a monthly payer. So I'm going to start doing the analysis on all of these versus the yield max single stock monthly versus weekly. I've only started it on PLTW and Pulte because I like that stock a lot and I own um, Pulte. I own a lot more Palantir, but from an income perspective, I own PLTY. And so I like to do that analysis. And I was a little surprised. Good on Roundhill for more stability in their NAV. They don't pay near what EOMAX does, but take the name Yield-Max. You get further NAV erosion, not on all stocks. So I think the good thing about Pltw and liking that software, I think they can recover that. They're never going to recover as somebody who pays, $1.60 a month and they're paying $4, $5, and $6. It's just hard to do. But hey, on total return, so I say to you guys, and I should be doing this on the next page, so I'll save it for that. Okay, so here's 33 cents, 45, 42 yield. Look at these last two yields, 69, 84, 81, 79, right? I highlighted 97. I highlighted these when this was up close to 70. Amazing. But Coney has been moving. If anybody's not aware, coin is really starting to surge. It was up 9.01% this Friday, right? So this doesn't take into account that kind of stuff. But we had a $6 move. What do we have up here? The Tesla was the big mover at 7, and then we had a 5 move in Nvidia. So good on Coney. These are good funds. All right, so let's move to Palantir. Pult W. I don't even know how we're gonna get it a little name. I like Pulte for the Yield-Max. This one is kind of hard to whatever you're gonna call it. So I'll just call it TW. All right. So only up 2.85 in the week change. And Palantir was fairly flat on Friday. This doesn't account for Friday. It was up a little bit, like 1%. All right, so $2.85. Let's go look at the summary. Um, and this is what I think in a lot of ways matters. It's not everything, but it's a lot. So here are the funds. Here are the launch dates. Everybody knows. So it's 87 days in, right, to launch, and that gives us the formula for calculating an annualized dividend. I can keep this all inside, but I just put some little pieces down here. All right, so the prior week, these were the numbers, the current price here, and hence the weekly change. This might be 2 weeks ago. I'll have to look it up, but you get the idea behind it because something's a little off here. Did I update? Hang on. AAPW. Maybe I only updated the first two. Yeah. Okay. Hold on. Current price 38.85. COIW. That's only before. This isn't including Friday, so I'm going to put it in like this. Equals 42.55 minus 4.12. And what did Pulte? Because now my price is showing Friday, and I don't want to go to the historical database and take the time to do that. So I'm entering them as equals 44.49 minus 0.56. Okay, that's closer. I'm not going to worry about the prior week stuff at the moment. Dividends are all correct. I'm pointing those to the new 17. Yeah, they got all the. All right. Sorry, I'm off here. Okay. So continuing on the path, you can see here's the dividend yields. Pltw definitely, PLTW has the highest yield, followed by Coin, which are higher IV stocks. Apple, not bad, right? Now, this is the simple return. This is an annualized. This is an 87-day yield, if you will. I take it back. So third place is Tesla. That makes sense. And the old goat, Nvidia, is really sort of falling off. It had a nice surge here with the semis and uh, doing well lately, but that's not really indicative in here. So here's your annualized dividend yield from Roundhill on these five funds. But you also have a lot of losses, right? Remember, part of it's the timing of when they launched, right? We went, into April, we went into a real bear market. So this was very close to the top in the market, people. So that's the problem you're facing. So I'll bring that up when I do my analysis down here. We'll get to that. So the only positive player is PLTW as a total return of 35% annualized, right? Because it has a sliver of a NAV loss. And when you annualize that, it's 12%. So going out and annualizing this, even though it's in existence for 87 days only, you can see out-base returns. Now, if Coin keeps up what it's doing, Coinbase and Tesla, they will get there. And it looks like Nvidia is the lowest next, best total return. All right. So this is something I'll spread out and do all of them. But I had personal interest in it. And what's ironic is I just got a comment in there that said, "Hey, Bruce," and this is true of several people. They haven't worded it the same way. They said, "Hey, I'm in PLTW. I like it. Do you mind, you do videos on PLTY. Can you do a comparison?" And when I first did this last week, I did it on my own, not because I was asked. But when I was asked today, I described it and then said, "Hey, go back and look at my last video, but better yet, look at the one that's coming in an hour or so." So, in order to make this fair, I could have just gone out and done Pulte since its existence, PLTW or PLTY. Sorry, guys. Um, and it would have just killed PLTW. But it wouldn't have been a fair comparison because it would have been in the bull market, having gone through the bear market and starting to recover. Okay, this would have been a $50 price tag and we'd be 71. These are yesterday's prices, guys, because I did this last night. I could easily update them, but it's not. Don't somebody point that out to me. Okay, so look at your NAV reduction since this bear market. For the most part, now we've turned around and bounced back. But what happens in the Yomax funds, and it happened, Tesla was the the poster boy for this. When Yomax funds pay a lot, have a high yield, and then the stock crashes on you and recovers, you take 90% to 95% of the down move because you're collecting some income, and then you only take 30 to 60% of the up move. So you're left out there, but you got a lot of money throughout that period. But at the end of the day, it's total return. And you'll notice that I also said, okay, well, to be fair, because I've always said the best thing to be in is Palantir. But I understand the need for income, guys. I love the euphoria myself from getting money, whether I need the money or not, right? I like it. It's a high associated with getting a paycheck and you didn't work for it. Well, you work for it by studying your investments, but you know what I mean. All right. So, how did I orchestrate this? How did I build it? Because look, this is damn near the high. I mean, PLTY went up to about 94, 95. I got out at 90 because I bought in at 51-ish, right? Right at the launch. So when it went to 95, I was like, especially in my 401k, I'm like, I put a stop at like 90.5 or something. So I got stopped out on a lot of shares. And then I said, okay, I'm buying at 70. And I told this in my comment. But guys, I marked it on technical resistance, support, all that kind of stuff. I started buying. I bought up half of what I wanted at 70. Well, the thing went all the way down to like 55, bounced back up to 70, and then proceeded in April at the low point intraday was like 45. I bought more at 55. I didn't catch the 45. I could have hung a stink bid out there, a real low bid, and just had it out there. But I added the other half at like 55. So I'm 70 and 55. So, my average is in the low 60s, which I'm happy now, but I'm happy to own it because I'm bullish. I love the stock. I mean, sure, if we turn real bearish in the market, it could go down, but I'm in for the long haul on this guy. So both in Palantir and in PLTY, I'm impressed with this. So here's the net, guys. So let me run you through the numbers. So one pays weekly, one pays monthly. So right? So I come down here and I say, now with today's payment, we have 12 weekly payments for PLTW. We have 3 monthly payments, so they're just about, but what I did here is I said, okay, and this would still be a negative number if I didn't go in. So it's winning, right? The big winner is PLTR for total return, 15%. Doesn't pay any income though. So if you really have to get income, although my argument would be just sell some stock every so often, but I know people don't always like that way. You take a gain. Well, so we're coming up on 21, right? So I included this distribution 516. Well, on 23, you get another weekly distribution. It's not going to be massive. It's going to be another 40, 30, 40, 50, maybe 60 cents, okay? But over here, we're probably going to get a $6 or $7 payment. I need to do the final analysis. So I went in and said, hey, let me add that. And when I do that, it makes PLTY a little more respectable here because it gets added right here. If I make this R17, whoops, yeah, then it doesn't have that, right? So that's where you are. You barely, right? You're there with an '07. This has got 10, but as soon as you add the $6 that, and I'll make that accurate what it really pays. But so these are close. You're just more stable. Look at over the same period of time. This guy's down 18%. This is down less than 1%. Same period of time. But this is in a higher sequence. It started at $50, people. And but distribution alone doesn't do it. It more than sure, this is a $6 payment, but that's coming a week from today. And then you'll have another payment. Well, you won't have the payment, you'll have the declaration, right, next Friday. So they don't get paid for a few more days. But $6.60 and then only 60 cents here, it wouldn't really matter, right? I can go in, if you had 60 cents, it's not going to change a lot. It's going to make this 12. So the point is, and this is not untypical. This I noticed in Curve on the funds, right? You choose. So when somebody asks me which one's better, if you want more income with a little, they're close enough in total return. Do you want big payments each month, but your NAV's not going to be as close to staying where you bought it? Or do you want a little more stable NAV and you're willing to, do you want the weeklies? Because, 60, Pulte has been paying probably an average of $4. It's had multiple $5. It had a few $3 when it got going. But I'm looking at $6 or $7 this next payout. you're getting 46. Multiply that times 4. You know, that's about a $2 payment when you do 4.3, because technically that's how many weeks. And what'll happen is you'll have a 5-week payout, right? 3 times out of the year, you'll have a five. There's 52. Sorry, you'll have every third month you'll have 5 distributions. So that's why you can just say 4-3. So $2 is not $6. It just simply isn't. But your price is 60%, 65% of the price of this. So you have to take that into consideration. But you can see that your yield is just a lot more, right? 25 to and this is going to subtly change. So hopefully that answers. People have sorry to get let me know if you want to see these. Okay, and I'm interested in the coin one because I own Coney. So I'll just start doing all these, but you can see it's a fair amount of work if you want to label all the details, mainly because they're apples and oranges of how often they pay. I can just roll them all up in summary here. But I wanted nobody to say, oh, Bruce, you didn't consider this, you didn't consider that. Oh, yeah, I did. I made them even start dates, right? Okay, guys, that's what I got for you on the Roundhill Weekly Payers. I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. Have a super weekend, people. Talk to you later. Bye for now.